Deze video is mede mogelijk gemaakt door Global Joy Media Groep.
Okay. Another driver is as we think about out-of-home, and unfortunately I don't know a lot about the out-of-home market here in Holland, but what I can tell you is we have a sister company, and this is not an ad for them, but they do a lot of out-of-home. At December 2008, at the end of December 2008, they had remnant inventory that they needed to use, and they wanted to come up with a study to see what drives search, what is the relationship between out-of-home and other media activity. So they bought this remnant inventory. It appeared for 1 month in selected spots all around London. So transport stations, on the tube itself, and then on the motorways. And what we found was they did something very simple called Oogle. Okay, so all the poster said was Oogle. It didn't have a call to action, although some might say with the magnifying glass that it meant go ahead and search on it. And when you searched on it or you typed in oogle.com, you got here. So they actually got this domain approved by Google before they ran it, because obviously Google's very protective of their name, as they should be, and they didn't want to just, take a spin on that name without it. And then they would ask people to fill out the survey. But the most compelling learnings that we get from that is that we know now with mobile devices that are smart devices, that mobile search can be 50 times greater on sophisticated devices. And by that we mean our Blackberries or our Nokia N97s or our iPhones. And we also know that 70% of Dutch consumers who have a mobile phone with an internet connection engage with Google. And Google actually said that they saw their highest volume of mobile search traffic data on the Christmas of 2007, when the iPhone was a commonly given out gift. So everybody's playing with it and searching on Google. So out-of-home drives search. So if you saw an outdoor ad in the last week, 20% visit the website, and they all do that from search. So a fifth. And something with Oogle is obviously very simplistic for somebody to just type into the navigational bar. And then finally, we know that out-of-home will drive search with intrigue creative. It'll drive website traffic. So what we saw is about 35,000 unique visitors in that month-long time period when we ran the posters. We saw visitors from 66 different countries. A third of those who came actually filled out the survey. And then what we finally found is that people tweeted about it. They posted, "Oh, did you see this?" on their Facebook status updates, and they took pictures of it and posted it on Flickr. So we got the community to amplify our ad on their own volition, because we made it captivating and intriguing. Okay, a little bit more about search, and instead of just thinking about the offline drivers, let's think about what is the relationship between search and digital in general. And when we think about digital in general, we're going to think about display. So we did a follow-up study where we basically looked at, and we said, okay, if you have seen a banner, and we know that the click-through rates for banners have never been as strong as we would like them to be, and when you compare them to search, they're quite low. And oftentimes they might be disruptive, or a consumer is doing something else and they're not ready to click onto it. So what we wanted to find out is if you saw a banner, did you then go and search on that information that you saw? And what we found is that 31% of internet users who do respond to online ads, they clicked on the ad itself. Then an additional 27% waited and then searched on it. So search plus display, where you then get that 1 + 1 = 3 effect. And I'm not doing bad math, it just means that you get that amplification. Then when we think about search and the relationship between organic and paid, oftentimes when we work with our clients, they'll say, I'm doing really solidly well in organic search. So I have high relevance, I have a lot of composition on the page. Do I need to do paid search? Or paid search is too expensive for me. On the flip side, we have clients who say, I can't be bothered to deal with my website team, and we can't get along. I'm kind of bound by them, so I'm going to do all my investment in paid search. And they think that's covering search. But what we find is that there's obviously an impact on paid search. If you look at this study here that we did, some of you may know the brand Mandarin Oriental Hotels. Not a massive hotel chain, but they're a luxury brand. They're in really premium locations in hot tourist spots like London, like Hong Kong. And we were working with them both on their organic search and on their paid search. So for this particular query, you can see that we were targeting Bermuda 5-star hotel. Now I know here in Holland, consumers are only typing on 1 or 2 words still, but what we find in a market like the US, consumers are adding more and more queries or words into their query because they're getting more refined, and also because it's so competitive. So something like this, to be on a 5-star hotel, and that's really on brand for Mandarin, was very important to them. It's also highly competitive. So what you see here is I'd like to say we got them to number 1, but we got them to number 3. And then on the right-hand side, what you see is we got them into the paid search results. And what we saw is when we boosted them up in organic, their click-through rate went from 2% to nearly 7%. 1 + 1 = 3, because the consumer now has 2 touch points where they visually see the brand, they start to recognize the brand, and then click through to it. So what we were able to do then is to test to see if we adjust our verbiage here, what impact does it have here, or what messages are most compelling, and can we actually leverage that from an SEO perspective. I'm going to skip that because I'm talking too much. Flipping it over so we talk about all the drivers to search, living in a multi-channel world, and making sure that when you run a television commercial that you capture the words and the messages that you are articulating in your creative for paid search as well as organic search, so that you capture the demand that you're creating. What we often see is that when television commercials are run, if the advertiser itself is not capitalizing on search, their competition starts to do it for them. So taking advantage of competitive spend.